Any chance you guys know the words to the intro song?
I know the tune.
Trying to see who the first guest will be that comes on and can actually sing along. Let's see.
I know bits and pieces.
All right, that's good enough.
It's another Friday. This week I did it my way. I made lots of juice and now I feel a boost. Baby say, oh, it's the way I make my juice. Pressing fruits and roots. This week I did it my way. Baby say, oh, now let's have some fun. There is nothing greater than Fridays at Good Nature.
Ow, 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 ow! What's up, my juice lovers? Welcome to Good Nature Radio. Ow, ow, ow. Today, we are, of course, joined by the two top juice business consultants in the world, Chef Ari Sexner, who literally wrote the book about how to create your own unique juice recipes called The Juicing Companion. What? And of course, the founder and owner of Southern Press Juicery, Olivia Esquivel. And we have some very special guests today. We have Sydney Smith and Lavell Wells, founders and owners of Pickin, one of the newest, hottest juice bars to open in the Louisville area. How you doing, guys?
Hi. So happy to be here.
Welcome. Thank you for joining. We will learn all about into the juice bar business, and we'll talk about starting the juice business and the challenges you face and working with the Good Nature team and what you've learned along the way. We'll get all into all that good stuff. But before that, if you're interested, turnkey consulting packages, check out goodnature.com/radio and fill out the little form there. We'll be happy to get on a call with you. And of course, we have our School of Juice where you can take online juicing courses. Use code GNRadio for $100 off any course. And join in the Good Nature Juicing Facebook group. Head over to Facebook and search Good Nature Juicing. Up to 5,000 members now. If you need any advice on starting or growing a juice business, that's the place to get advice. All right, so let's get into it. Sydney, so I did a little research. So your father was a championship NBA player, Derek Smith, correct?
Correct.
So you grew up in sort of a basketball household, which seems like that's sort of a big part of your influence in the juice bar.
Absolutely. My father played 9 years in the NBA, coached 2 years in the NBA. My brother, he won a championship in college, and then my brother followed in his footsteps, won a championship in college, played 2 years in the NBA, and now coaches in college. So I've worked in basketball my entire life. So it's definitely my roots, and it's my life. So that's where a lot of the influence came from Cherry Pickin. Myself, Lavell played in high school, and then our third partner, she has worked on the design and brand side of both NBA, college, and college basketball as well.
Awesome. So that's a big influence. It looked like, is Cherry Pickin, is that the name of a play in basketball or something?
Oh,
yes,
Charlie.
Yes.
Charlie.
Oh, you're good. You're really good. You've done research. Yeah. So it's a play.
Charlie is not a sports guy. He's not a sports guy. You admit it, right, Charlie?
Oh, I'll be the first one to tell you that. Yeah, I do not. I'll read the headlines, but I haven't watched a sports game all year. So
got it. Okay. So it's a little sports tutorial. Cherry Pickin is basically where you kind of set yourself up to get the easiest shot or basket. So it's just basically, putting yourself in the best position to succeed. So we love that as far as health and wellness is concerned, because I think most people aren't either like 100% vegan or, they don't exercise every single day, drink a gallon of water a day. Most people kind of cherry pick what they do as far as health and wellness is concerned. So that's where we came up with the name. It allowed us to tie in our sports influence, but also tie it to health and wellness.
That's so cool. See, so Olivia, she and her team do branding for some of our consulting clients. And I just think, like, finding a voice and identity like that is so great, where it can sort of carry through in your whole brand like that. I think you guys nailed the branding. I think it's awesome.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Appreciate that.
And then you also, do you run a sports marketing business on the side?
Yes, I do. So I work with NBA and NFL athletes. I throw sporting events. So I had one last weekend where Cherry Pickin did their first pop-up, and it was awesome. We made smoothies on site, sold our juices. So it was really, really cool. It was a great tie-in of both parts of my life.
Awesome. And then Lavell, you come from a film background. Looks like you've worked on projects including Fire Fraud on Hulu, The Murdaugh Murders, and Rest in Power, the Trayvon Martin story, all of which I've either seen or heard a lot about. So that's awesome. How did you guys come to connect to form Cherry Pickin?
Well, unfortunately, my basketball career fell short after high school.
Mine too. I hear you.
So, I took the film route. I've been, producing films for the past 12 years now. And then when Sydney and I met, my brother got the coaching job at U of L, and we moved to Louisville. We both kind of worked from home, and we would work out daily. And there just weren't any like juice shops and smoothie shops like in the area downtown where we live. So one day I was out of town and I was on a job, and Sid called me. She's like, "Hey, let's start a juice shop." I'm like, "A juice shop? Like, where did that come from?" But I'm from New York, so there's like a juice shop on every corner, and Sid's from DC. So we just kind of grew up in that, healthy lifestyle. But like she said, it was just a lack of juice shops here. So once she said it, I'm just like, all right, cool, this could be a thing. And then we used to walk from our home to like Louisville Marketplace downtown and back, which is like a 3.5-mile walk. And along the way, we just kept seeing available retail spaces. So we started to make a few phone calls. One became available. And then things just started popping up, and it just started to make sense. And then about a month or two later, we put a team together, and then by the time we looked up, it's like we had no choice but to just jump off and just do it. And now we're here.
Yeah, New York was like Juice Press in New York. They did an incredible job growing ever since like 2014 or whatever they started until now. I think they still have like 30 locations or something down there. Are they still like on every corner down there? They are. But I know there's like also a lot of mom and pop places as well. But I've been to Juice Press pretty often up there. Yeah, Marcus is a really intense guy. I really love talking to him. He's like, when it comes to like retail business, just picking his brain is so much fun. He's just like such a hardcore guy. All right, so you guys are like, let's do this. We're going to start a juice bar. We're going to start it in Nulu. That's another term I learned while I was researching. Nulu is like Nulu, which I guess is like, what, a new hip area in Louisville?
Yes, correct.
And that's where Cherry Pickin is based?
Yep, it's right in the marketplace. So we are the only healthy option among probably 20 bars.
Awesome. That's great. That's such a good place to be, like being the only sort of option. We always tell people when they call, if they're considering opening a juice bar and they say they'll be the first one in the area, that's always like a really good sign, because there's usually a demand for it, even if it's not around yet.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right. So then how did you end up sort of getting in contact with Ari?
Well, to be honest, I think this is something that I suggest to everybody is like, do your research. So first steps first is we, figure out the financing. So we're researching juice bar consultants, and we found one company, worked with them to do our business plan. And that was fine. We were able to secure a bank loan with that. It was done well, but that's not rocket science. And so it came time for next steps. And at that time, I think the podcast, you guys had come out with the podcast. I'm not sure the exact time you guys launched it, but I feel like it was simultaneous with where we were in our process. So we started listening to your podcast and seeing, I think you guys started doing the consulting services around that time as well. And it was time for us to like develop our menu and move forward with just a couple of different items. And I'm just like, the other company, it felt like we were dealing with like a call center, or we just weren't dealing with, I think, the person we thought we were dealing with. Whereas I loved listening to you guys on the podcast or seeing you guys on social media, watching Olivia's lives on her business page, and then realizing, oh, I can talk and work directly with the people I'm seeing. I think that for me was like a turning point in us utilizing consultants. And for us, we wanted to make sure we did everything upfront, so we weren't playing catch up on the back end if we, made mistakes with, menus and food costs and different things of that nature. So we ended up, we had like gotten proposals from your company and the other company. And I was just like, I don't care the price difference. For me, it's the personable aspect. I feel like I've gotten to know Olivia. I feel like I've gotten to know Ari, and I'm like, I would love to just work directly with them. And I think Lavell was like, no, let's do it. That makes sense. And then I think I had saw first that Olivia was allowing people to come work in her juice shop. And I'm like, that's invaluable, because I've never worked in a juice shop before. I make juice at home, but that's not doing it on a mass scale, right? So we worked with Olivia first. I came down, I think I spent 4 days in South Carolina. So I came down, spent 4 days, and the things that I learned in those 4 days, just watching, doing, sitting and talking with Olivia, her employees, I would have never learned. Just little things like the quart containers. You guys use those for everything. Just like the age group of your employees, just little different things like the type of person I'd want in the back running the juicer. Just different things of that nature, I think, were things that you won't get anywhere else. And then prior to us opening, Chef Ari came and spent, I think, 3 days here in Louisville with us, which again, invaluable, right? Because we had never used. So I'll tell you this, and anyone who orders the X1, make sure you completely take it out of the box before you use it for the first time, because I had no clue. Lavell, was it like 24 hours before Chef Ari was supposed to land? We realized it needed special plugs.
We need special plugs. So we had to call an electrician last minute. They had to like put all the plugs in, and yeah.
So that's actually happened on more than one occasion. There's one time a client flew me to New Zealand for training, and I show up and he didn't have the electrical for the X1.
Yeah. It's not that rare of occurrence. It actually happens almost every single time.
Okay, good. Okay. So I don't feel as bad.
Feel a lot better.
You were walking in as the electrician was walking out. That's how tight it was. He was there, I think, the night before until late at night trying to just figure like wiring through the ceiling. But
and we're like,
again,
no, like you have to figure this out. Like we have to figure this out. So.
Yeah, it's funny. That guy was a New York guy who had a like New York pizza shop in New Zealand and in Auckland, and he was launching a juice brand, and he's super cool about the whole thing, because I did tell him, like, I gave him plenty of notice that he needed to do that. He didn't do it. He's like, do you want to go to the casino? I'm like, all right. We just went to the casino. It's pretty funny.
That works.
That's awesome.
Anyway,
yeah, so that was probably the major hiccup prior to Chef Ari coming. But then again, that was just like the best thing we could have done. Like working with you guys, I think I'm a big person on alignment, and you guys launching your business in the way you did in the consulting at that time, we couldn't have gotten here without that. Like it was a difference maker for us. We felt confident on day one. And I think as you're entering into a new venture, I think that's super important.
That's so awesome.
It's just, yeah.
That's what I mean. So Ari and I started actually working together back in 2014 because we were getting a lot more of the juice bar type customer. Before that, we were this tiny little company making apple cider presses when my dad started the company in the 70s. And then when juicing really started taking off, we were getting calls every day of people saying they need help with like sanitation plans, dealing with the health department, training staff, recipes, cost of goods. And we didn't have any answers for them. So that's sort of around the time I met Ari, because he was developing the first ever USDA organic certified juice program for the Bellagio Hotel. And then, so we started working together back then, and then we could actually help people with this stuff. And then Olivia joined us a couple of years ago for the same reason, there's still some things we couldn't really provide, like marketing and branding and front of house operations, that kind of stuff. So now I feel confident when people come to us that if they work with us, they can be 100% confident on opening day that they're at least set up for success. You know what I mean? It's just like, instead of just feeling like there's a million things you probably don't even know that you don't know, you at least like know what you have to know, and you've had the help along the way and can just feel more confident on opening day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that was us. I think coming down and working with Olivia first, I went back, I had my questions, but I also kind of had my list of just like, okay, this is a great starting point.
And not
After
just
visiting with you,
A-list, she had like pages and pages and pages full of notes.
She's a note taker, Lavell. She is a note taker. I love it.
As soon as we got back, she just downloaded me on everything. I'm like, wait, I'm gonna need 2 days to like process all of this.
Exactly. And I think I felt like it was doable because I think it was scary before coming and seeing an actual operation. But then coming down there, I was like, okay, we could do this. Like it wasn't that scary. And I think that's when I was just like finally hit the point of being excited about the opportunity. And then I think when Chef Ari came, it was still using the actual machine. I think, Olivia, you really helped prepare the front of the house, customer service, employees, helped prepare that side of things. But then I was like, okay, wait, now like, how do we make these recipes that Chef Ari put together for us? And when the recipes came together and we tried them, it was just like a full circle moment of we knew we had a hit. The juices were so well put together. Like I recommend working with you guys for the menu, putting together the menu, curating the menu, because I mean, when I tell you, we have people now asking for gallons of certain flavors that we have.
Sell them, baby. Sell them.
Oh yeah. The University of Kentucky staff tried them over the weekend, and they're now trying to figure out how we can get them back and forth to Lexington every week.
Yep.
So
nice.
Man.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
That'd be so nice to have that
photos.
consistent weekly business like that. That'd be awesome.
Exactly. That's what we need right now, especially wintertime. So
Yeah. So when did you officially open?
September 23rd was our grand opening.
Okay, so you've been open for like 2.5 months or something. What has the experience been like in the area with the people coming in? What's the feedback been like? Were there any major surprises or like just kind of like what's the feedback been so far?
It's been really, really good. I'd say definitely surprising. We knew that we had a good product. We know that we had a good brand. But it's just surprising to see like the word of mouth pop off so quickly. With us trying to run the business and being hands on at first, we weren't able to really tap into marketing. So just seeing people come in and just really just love the product. I think that was very surprising. And then, especially in this area, 95% of the world's bourbon comes from Kentucky. You've got people that drink bourbon for breakfast here. And I think when we spoke to Ari, our main thing was just, having our juice to be attractive as far as like the color, the range from sweetness to, savory. And I think that has helped us a lot because we have a lot of introductory flavors that we can introduce to the people in the area. The new marketplace area, it does have a lot of tourists that comes in the area. And I think we're just able to appeal to a large crowd. And I don't know. I mean, Sid can speak to it as well, but it's been amazing thus far.
you nailed it. I think that's pretty much it. I think I don't know. It's been upon opening, I think people were waiting. There was a juice bar apparently that was in Nulu, and the woman during the pandemic just shut it down because she lived in, I believe, another city. So she kept her location in Lexington and shut the one down where we are now. And I think people were just waiting on another one to open up. So it was also a perfect timing for us. There was a gap, and it was great to fill it. And then there is an acai bowl place across the street, not far. But when I tell you, Olivia, like you are the bowl master because their acai, they use ice. And
oh no, honey.
So they're like slushy bowls. And so when people come and finally try ours, they're like, holy smokes, like these are delicious. And then there's like, I think Pliable here where they're just like Pliable's candy. So we've now been able to create, you know, a following based off our bowls as well, which has been special because they love them.
Yeah, it's just so compelling when you walk into a place and everything's actually done right. You know, like the flavors are good and there's using real ingredients and great branding and good messaging. It is just irresistible. So I think you guys really nailed it. So if someone's listening to this now and they are where you were a year ago, what things would you tell them that might surprise them, or what should they watch out for? What should they research that maybe is not even on their radar right now?
Ooh. I think first and foremost, one thing I do regret not doing, I think I wish I had found you guys first before the other company, because I would have probably worked with you guys even on construction of like the kitchen and the actual bar. I think that's one area that I know eventually we're going to have to rework because the functionality is just a little difficult at times. So I think that's something that I would definitely suggest because I think that does affect your everyday operations. I think that's really important. And again, do the work before and make the investment beforehand too. I think opening any new business, I think because we are a sports-based juice bar and a hoop space, I think I always take a lot of the strategy that you use in sports and its preparation. And, you know, yes, anyone can open a business, but it's the ones who are the most prepared, I think, that are going to be the most successful. And I would tell anyone, hands down, invest in, if you feel like the consulting is expensive, no, it's going to be more expensive to fix the mistakes down the road, right?
Yeah, or if you even make it. I mean, that's the thing about the consulting is you're set up to succeed so that you don't open on day one and 30 days later, you're like, oh God, I can't even make payroll or something, you know, or 90 days later, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's really important. I think understanding your cost, for sure, cost of labor. I think that's really, really important.
Especially when it's slow, right? Like right now when it's slow. Oh man.
Yeah. I was listening to your episode. I think it's the 2 episodes ago where you're talking about like just maintaining during the slow months. That was right on time for all of us newbies in the business. And I think we learned early on we tried to hire a general manager right off the bat. Did not work. He was gone within 2 weeks. But another friend of mine who owns a restaurant said fire fast. So 2 weeks in, I was like, this isn't working. And it was a friend of mine, a close friend of mine. I was like, you got to go. Because again, he was getting paid way more than everybody else. And I felt like I was still having to go behind him to do everything. So I think staffing is very important, getting a hold of your staffing and your labor costs. For us, because we opened in September, which gave us like a month of just warm weather. And then we went straight into like what's now is a super slow season. So Lavell and I, you know, it's slow for us work wise. So it's easy for us to kind of like fill in the blanks. But I think that's extremely important. You want to be able to get people hours, but sometimes it just doesn't make sense.
Well, if you can figure out how to launch in the winter and survive, then I guess when spring comes, you'll just be cruising.
Well, you know,
that's what we hope.
Yeah. And the good thing about that is like, if you can, like Sid, I'm doing the same thing in my juice bar right now. Like if I'm not with a good natured client, I'm at the juice bar working, and my husband is too. And it's just because it's so slow. So, you know, you keep 1 or 2 people on because you can't just throw your people out on the streets either, but business first. And so, you know, that's a really good thing about being trained. I think a lot of people go into this and they just think it's going to be something that like you can hire a general manager and not know how to work the machine and not know how to get tickets out, not know all of those things. And yeah, eventually you want to get to a point where you don't have to be in the juice bar all the time, right? Just like any other business. But the point is you have to know how to do that. And if you can get really good on a really, really skinny labor, like just you and Lavell handling the day-to-day right now, then when you're going to get faster, right? Because it's harder when there's just a couple of you. Like when my husband's on the register and I'm behind the bar and I have 25, 30 tickets in front of me and 2 or 3 blenders, and they're all blender tickets. All the juice people are out the door already, right? And so learning how to start and have multiple things going at a time. But then when spring comes around, you become so efficient. So when more people start coming through, you just have a better process. And so then you don't have this heavy labor. And so that extra money just hits the bottom line because you know how to schedule so tight. And then it's the same thing too. Like once you know how to do it and run it so well, fire fast. It's the same thing. Like, I give people a week or 2 of training, but I can tell right off the bat if they're going to be able to run the bar like I can. Like if I have them make a smoothie and they're done and they pour it out, if they're not turned to looking at me or grabbing a rag or doing something, they're waiting for me to tell them. I'll be like, nope, this ain't going to work. Like they have to have that initiative of like, okay, I'm done. Now what? And just working always, not so much working, what's the word I'm looking for, chef, but just always with a sense of urgency, right? Like there's always something to be due, even if the bar is empty, right? Like there's always something to be done to prep for the next rush. And I think that's when you're going to start seeing in the spring, your sales are going to go up, but you're going to have that place running so tight that you're going to have so much more coming down to the bottom line than if you had 4 or 5 or 6 associates up front. It's just learning how to run that tight ship is so important.
Yeah. I think like I told the story before, but if you have the ability to have someone that is looking to work for you, be able to hire them for a day and work with the staff is amazing for not just them, but for you as well, because they understand what they're getting into, but also you get to see how they interact with people, and taking that initiative and jumping on different tasks that are not told to them specifically, being proactive and stuff.
Yeah. Are they going to lift their head and say, hello, welcome in? Are they going to, sorry, Charlie, but are they going to have that, that hospitality aspect too, that is just sometimes not very teachable. It's just innate in you.
Yeah, we try to do a trial day at Good Nature when we hire someone. Just you can see how they interact with other staff and with customers, and just get a much better feeling. So Ari, let's go to you for a second. Can you sort of explain a bit about when you worked on the menu with them, sort of the concept and how that carried through to the menu items?
Yeah. So first of all, I got to say, working with Sydney and Lavell was amazing, on my end, because there's a couple things. Number one is people always ask me, what's the biggest mistake people have when they're starting a juice operation? I always say having an ego, that's huge. Like if you have an ego, you're just shutting yourself out from learning, no one knows everything, being open to stuff. So I always kind of stress, like, I'm going to give you a lot of options. They might not all work for you, but a lot of them will. Just take everything with a grain of salt, see if it works, try to plug it in. I think that's amazing. And I think going back to Sydney's note taking, they don't brush anything under the rug. If there's something they don't know, they're going to write it down and figure out what works, what doesn't work, and research it. So that's amazing. Where a lot of times people might get tired at the end of the day figuring everything out on their own, that they'll just copy and paste something on certain aspects. But that was never the case with you guys. So it was amazing to work with you. That really translates over into when I got to work with you guys with some of the menu items, because you guys had such a clear vision on everything. And it was so easy. When I work with people with menus, it's like the more they have, or the more direction they have, the easier it is for me, and you guys were like, okay, this is my theme. This is the name. I already got ideas going. The demographic, where it's people that might be new to juicing, but a lot of people traveling. I mean, that narrowed everything right down. So it was amazing to work with you guys. You guys were able to give me a list of like items that you guys needed, necessary produce items, and the menu almost wrote itself, really, because but it's been great because you guys had such a clear vision and direction, and being able to build off that was really easy on my part.
Yeah, like when clients come to us and want a menu done, but they don't even have a brand yet, we really prefer they work with Olivia first and develop that brand, because that really drives everything, especially like the core menu and everything.
It was, I will say, like items that you developed for us, Ari, the names that correlated with them have like been, it could have been more perfect. Like our best selling one is called Gold Medalist.
Oh,
And
nice.
Nice.
it was just like, did he know this ahead of time? Like, and I don't think he did. And I say everything has worked out. I mean, they're just vibrant, and everything in our juice bar is obviously really bright, really bold, and everything, the flavors reflect that. We told you again that people drink bourbon before they drink anything here. So again, they come in. We have about 2 or 3 advanced greens on the menu. And again, the people who travel in from other, mainly like New York City, the East Coast people, they come in, of course, they go straight for the more advanced greens. The locals, not so much. But again, they appreciate the ones that, you know, they still feel like they're doing something healthy for their body, but they're sweet, right? They're the more fruity flavor, the pineapples in the base, you know, the apple heavy ones, and they love them. So when I say you nailed it, it's our menu is, when I say, so much fun. Like we love
Yeah.
them.
Nice.
I like the cherry picker, the signature juice.
Oh yeah.
It's like we did a starter with like a starter style juice with a little higher in citrus, a little bit of heat, but it's got a nice pink color with cherries actually in there. So
Oh, cool.
it's kind of
Awesome.
cool. I call it the
good, so
signature,
refreshing.
but you know,
It is. It literally is. And it just happened to be the cherry picker, which is crazy. So no, it's perfect.
Yeah, it's so important to consider the local demographic because, like, the most important thing is when someone walks in the first time and they try your product, they need to like it. You know, if they are kind of like, oh, I don't know if I'll like it, and then they try it, they don't like it, they'll never be back. But if they try it the first time, they like it, they'll come back, and then you can slowly advance them towards the healthier stuff, you know, over time.
That's something that Olivia, I think I saw you doing. I was like, Lavell, Olivia has a fridge behind the counter where she keeps sample juices. I was like, we need that. And when I tell you, we have people who are just like wandering around, just kind of looking around the marketplace. Again, a lot of people are tourists, and we'll invite them in and say, hey, just come in and get samples. No lie, that's turned into so many sales for us, just people trying. So we keep samples on deck. We pretty much, every customer, run them through our entire line of juices, all, I think 10, 11 of them, and they try everything. They find their favorites, and they're going to leave out of the door with something. And it's been amazing to us. Just like if there's customers in there working, we will pour them whatever leftover smoothie we have, even if it's just a little tiny taste.
Good girl.
They try the smoothie. I'll even make, I call them mini bowls, where I'll take a little bit of the bowl, I'll sprinkle a little granola, 1 strawberry, 1 blueberry on top, and next thing we know, they're ordering a bowl. So I learned that, I think, when I was in person, just like people really love samples, and what do you have to lose? You know, it's extra product anyway.
Well, you're so smart to do that, Sid. And it's so important because it's, you guys, none of us are selling a cheap, inexpensive product here. I mean, it is a $10, $11, $12 product. And it's funny because when I go to other places, or like my boys were getting a haircut the other day, I went to the coffee shop. I walked out with $33. I was like, what the hell? I just bought coffee. But then I always have to remind myself, I'm like, Olivia, that's what people do in your shop, right? So even for me, even for me, when I spend that amount of money on a beverage, I'm like, oh, it's kind of a little taken back. But so it's really important when you have a menu as strong as yours is with Chef Ari's, or, you know, whatever your menu looks like, it's an investment. And so for me, there's nothing worse than, I think it only took me a handful of times of somebody buying a drink, never having tasted it, open and been like, ugh. And I'm like, whoa. That might not have been the recipe for you, but I guarantee you there's one in this fridge. Just give me 5 minutes and let me find it. And almost every time it'll result in more than one juice purchase. They'll find 2 or 3 or 4. And so once I have an idea for what their profile is as the managers, you know, work in the shop, then I know, and I'll remember. Like, I might not remember their name, but I'll be like, oh, I know he likes the Lord Have Mercy. I've got a new seasonal out. Let me, you know, try him with that. And so you start to kind of figure out their personalities, and they just feel so thankful. I mean, that's like the best part of going to Costco, right? Is like the free samples. Right. So, you know, I think just helping them find and feel comfortable with, there is something in this fridge for you, particularly if Chef has done your recipes and your menu, they will find something. But don't let them walk out with a $10 juice that they didn't like. You know, if that happens, take it back and give them another one. Don't charge them. Find something that they like. But I've done that too, Sid, where, I mean, you probably saw it happen, where somebody has a smoothie, they're sitting in the corner. I have a little overage because I made a double or a triple or whatever of an order that's coming in. I sample them another smoothie and they get back in line. I'm like, who can drink 2 smoothies? They get back in line to get another smoothie because they were so blown away. So, you know, and that's where with the juices, that's where the 6-packs come in. And then you start talking to them about a cleanse, and all of a sudden, like, that fear barrier comes down, and you let them know, hey, if you need to freeze this when you get home, you freeze it when you get home if you need to. Like, all of a sudden your ticket just went from a $10, not sure if they're going to like it, to a $55, $60 ticket item, and guarantee they're going to come back and come back and come back. And that's where you see juice bars going from 150 a year to 500,000, from 500,000 to 1 million. It's those daily ticket ads of going from $10 to $55 for a 6-pack. It's just clutch, because you know you're not going to see another 50 people walk through your juice bar tomorrow. You have got to make the 50 or the 100 that walked in today get more. You know, nobody's going to drop off a bus of an extra 50 people in front of your doorstep and they're going to get in line. I mean, you got to work with what's coming in.
That is an interesting marketing idea. You start like a juice
dropping
bus.
off a bus. Yeah.
A juice bus.
You have to get in on those
right.
Louisville tour buses. Just like make some deal with them.
We used to when I used to work at the Wynn, we used to have this thing where it was a huge event every year, and it was basically every taxi driver can come to the Wynn, the banquet hall, and we would have food for them all for free.
Oh wow.
It was insane.
Oh wow.
They brought in so much business because they just ate for free that one day. They were like, "Oh, Wynn took care of us," and every time.
Smart.
Yeah,
Something
that's
there.
awesome.
Something there.
Yep.
Speaking of great ideas, Lavell, I have the idea for your next great documentary film. Okay, it's called The War on Raw, and it's about how the U.S. is the only country in the world where it's illegal to distribute raw juice. Yet at the same time, we can hide all kinds of weird stuff in food without putting it on the label. This is something I'm passionate about. If everyone talk more about it, I've already I talked to the guy. So it all started back when there was a bunch of E. coli in some apple juice from Douala, I think, back in 1997. And a bunch of people got sick. So then the FDA, I think, basically made it illegal to wholesale raw juice. You can only sell it direct to consumer. So then since then, it's been illegal to like sell it through cafes or whatever, no matter how small you do it. But then there's other things like for example, there's this chemical called Velcorin. It's so toxic that you have to handle it with a hazmat suit. And they put it in wine and orange juice and all kinds of beverages to extend the shelf life. And they don't have to put it on the label because it's considered like a processing method and not like an ingredient, because it doesn't change the nutritional aspects of the juice. And there's all kinds of stuff like that. And then there are some lawsuits. There's like Suja and Watermelon Water and some other companies all got sued. Blueprint Cleanse for calling the juice raw when it's been HPP'd. And like I've had a couple of conversations with that lawyer about that kind of stuff, but I don't know. It's been something that's been in my mind for years that I think would be a cool story to tell.
No, definitely. I definitely think you're onto something. A few years back, I produced a documentary with Michael Moore called Where to Invade Next. So we kind of went to like 13 different countries and just kind of compared different policies and laws to American laws. And one of our topics was the food system within the education system. Like, you know, just the school lunches that we give our kids here in America versus other countries. Like they put Michael Moore put a Coca-Cola on the table and like none of the kids wanted it. They didn't even know what it was. But here in America, it's like on vending machines.
America vending machines. And it's like tater tots and hot dogs and all that stuff, because they have those deals with like Cisco and all those distributors, right? For all the distribution deals and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty nasty. Yeah. There's you know, Jamie Oliver, the chef, he did like a series in the UK about that, where you go around and visit schools and try to educate them about food. And he went in front of some class, probably like 8 years old. And he showed how chicken nuggets are made. Like he ground up chicken parts like in a
I've seen
grinder, including like the bones and the chicken gizzards and all this stuff into this mush. Then he formed it into these nuggets and then breaded it and then fried it. And then he was like, all right, now who wants a chicken nugget? And like half the kids in the class were like raising their hand. He's like, oh my God. It's like,
It's like Americans, there's no changing them.
Yeah, but we had a customer, Caitlin. What was her name? She was in Monterey, and she opened a juice bar on the Navy base there, and all the people that lived there were so happy because there wasn't really much healthy food on the base there, on the military base, and then like she got an article written about her in the local newspaper, and then they came and shut her down because the Army has some laws against like raw juice or something. It's just so crazy.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we could bring in my guy I used to work with or went to culinary school with, Dan. He was bringing over doing that battle with getting chefs into schools and being able to take over their programs and cook actually scratch made food. He runs that brigade program. It's awesome. They actually signed a contract in Buffalo, so they're taking over a lot of the school systems over there. But he's also developing a program for prisons, actually, you know, and helping out those food programs as well, because they're just in bad shape as the schools, you know, with those food.
It's the same company that serves the same food. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
It's the evil food empire. Dirty stuff. I think behind pharmaceuticals, they're the number one lobbyist group. Big food and beverage. Not surprising. All right. Anyway, it's so great having you guys on. It's always nice to hear from our Good Nature family out there in the field doing what you guys do best. We look forward to following your story, and can't wait to come visit you and try some cherry picking juice and bowls.
Yeah, everybody go follow Cherry Pickin on Instagram. Sydney, I've been loving your lives. They've been great. And you know, I personally love when your brother is on. I'm just going to say, I always get on to see if he's on. Sometimes he is, sometimes he isn't. But, you know, I tune in just in case.
Absolutely. He called today and he was just like, you know, we finish by 6 p.m. every day. I could do deliveries in the evening. And I'm just like, he said, wouldn't that be great marketing? I was like, sure, Nolan. But no, you guys, this is awesome. Like, we couldn't have done this without you guys.
Oh man.
100%.
Especially
You're
this
doing
fast.
great.
I think from January to now, like, I mean, literally, you guys were everything in our process. So you guys have our cosign. Anytime anyone has any questions, please reach out to us. We'll tell you. Your audience, you know, just an accurate, honest, you know, description of just like how our process was working with you guys, because it's been fun and just the impact we've had on our community here. It means a lot. I think that's been the best part about it, is just seeing people come in, you know, and they feel good about themselves when they walk in our juice bar. And I think that's been the best part about this whole process. So I want to thank all of you. Like it's really, this is a great opportunity and we're so appreciative.
Thank you so much.
So
Thanks,
sweet.
Sid.
Thank
We're
you.
proud of you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's the best thing about our industry is the people. Like, I remember when it really hit me is when we did JuiceCon for the first time. And like, you know, I've been to other conferences where people are like, you know, wearing khakis and lanyards and like nobody really wants to be there. They're there because the business sent them. And I was so nervous to get up and give my speech, you know, when everybody came in. But then like everybody was so nice and so happy to be there and all giving each other hugs. It was just like such an awesome, like warm industry that we're all so lucky to be a part of. So
absolutely. Even your
thank
Facebook
you for doing
group,
your part.
I think I tell everyone, I was just like, you know, other people now are like wanting to start juice bars. They've reached out, or even through the Facebook group, they'll DM me. And I tell them, I'm like, it's not a space, or at least the Facebook group. No one is like gatekeeping information. Everyone is like open to sharing, whether it's recipes, you know, how I did this, and, you know, other industries, they're not doing that. And I think it's really, that says a lot, I think, about the juice community, is that everyone is just so open and willing to help the next person.
I think part of it is that there's still so much room to grow. Like we're still such a small niche market compared to the size of other markets, where like the more successful juice bars there are, the bigger the industry will become and the more people will drink juice. So it's like if you reach out and you help somebody opening a juice bar somewhere else, and over the course of a year, 2,000 people discover juice because you helped them. Now there's that many more people that are into juice telling their friends about it. And those people are going to go to other juice bars. They might even travel to Louisville. You know what I mean? It's just sort of all helping. Like the better the people do, the bigger the industry gets and the more customers there are for juice in general.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So how do people follow you on your journey?
Yes. Our Instagram is at Cherry Pickin Goods, Pickin. There's no G on Cherry Pickin. Cherry Pickin Goods on Instagram. That's the main platform you're using right now. So if you want to check in on us, check out what we're doing in the juice bar, please give us a follow, shoot us a DM. We'll answer any questions that, the audience has.
Thank you so much. It's great to meet you guys, and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank
you. I appreciate you guys.
Bye, guys. Big hugs.
Yeah.
Ciao.
Bye.
It's another Friday. This week I did it my way. I made lots of juice, and now I feel a boost. Baby say, oh, it's the way I make my juice. Pressing fruits and roots. This week I did it my way. Baby say, oh, now let's have some fun. There is nothing greater than Friday's at Good Nature.